is Ilyana Van Zandt. There's nothing there.
And they gave this guy a TV show? Let's get back to our show. Gene Baradelli, back behind the enemy lines, getting ready to wrap this sucker up. As they are wrapping up in New Hampshire, the first two states, the first in the nation primary is done and over with. We have our winners, Donald Trump, and we have our definite losers. I think we see Carly Fiorina on that end. Chris Christie maybe packing it up. And I think we saw, and this is just my perspective, folks. I'm not going by numbers. I'm going by perception, because in a lot of ways, perception outweighs reality when it comes to Okay, I'm going to reset here. Sorry about that, folks. Live radio, it happens sometimes. Gene Baradelli, back behind enemy lines. Here's the deal. I'm not going to go by what the numbers say. I'm not going to go by what the RCP average is going to tell me. Time to look at perception, not reality. But perception in politics is reality. Let's start at the top of the list. Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he did what he had to do, and then some. Donald Trump was managing expectations, folks. All he was doing was trying to say, well, if I win by one vote, it's good enough for me. A win is a win. But he outperformed that. He overperformed that. He did a lot better than that. He doubled up second place. Obviously, he's going to be the cock of the walk now. He's going to be strutting his stuff through South Carolina and beyond. Donald Trump's message tonight is, I'm for real and I'm here to stay. And just think, folks, it would be kind of crazy once he gets a ground game, how amazing he'll do. Next one on the list, John Kasich. John Kasich did what he had to do tonight. He had to hit a home run. He hit a double off the wall and he scored a run at least. He may have even hit that home run for himself, depending upon his own personal expectations. He has made his mark on the candidate field. He has established himself, to turn a phrase, to being a candidate who may be around up to Super Tuesday, definitely, beyond that even as well. Ted Cruz's expectations, again, he's going to say that he exceeded them. Ted Cruz is going to say, we beat the media, we beat the pundits, we beat everybody that said we wouldn't have a good showing here. That's what he's going to say. Jeb Bush can say the same thing. Calm down, conservatives and grassroots people. You know what? Jeb Bush had the night he needed tonight. He broke double digits. He's beating Marco Rubio. I don't know if it's going to actually happen. But as of right now, he is. And as people start going to bed on the East Coast, that's going to be what they go to bed with. Jeb Bush did what he had to do tonight. He remains marginally in the field. He's still in the game. I don't think you can say that you got rid of Jeb anytime soon. Loser of the night that's going to remain in the field is Marco Rubio, folks. Perception is reality. The perception is, or at least was, coming out of Iowa, that Marco Rubio was the big winner. He was the real winner. He was the guy that came out on top, not Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was going to win anyway. Donald Trump was going to be up there anyway. Marco Rubio took the last-minute deciding votes. By the way, that's what John Kasich did tonight, folks. Why aren't you talking the same about him? But back to Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio tonight is the big loser because not only didn't he meet expectations, he's leaving New Hampshire a damaged candidate, and he really has nobody to blame but himself. Poor preparation for his debate, poor damage control afterwards. It's not like Chris Christie got a bump out of taking him out. You might as well have called it, a kamikaze mission. Make no mistake, Chris Christie thought he was going to get somewhere with those attacks. Chris Christie thought he was going to get a bump in the polls by taking a bite out of Marco Rubio. That Marco Rubio's people are also his people. But as we see now, election politics is a fickle mistress, folks. I'm getting tongue-tied. It's getting late here. But you know what? Marco Rubio now walks out a wounded candidate. But this isn't the end for him. He is again expected to have a strong showing in South Kakalaki. He's got Trey Gowdy endorsing him. He's got Senator Tim Scott endorsing him. He should be back up there again, if not winning the state. But let's see what happens if the robots become more of an albatross around his neck, or if, I don't know, or if he can kind of shake it off, pick himself up from the dirt, from the dust back he got, and with Christie possibly being out of sight, out of mind, taking his deep breath as he leaves New Hampshire, maybe, just maybe, Marco Rubio can come back. And maybe he can come back with a vengeance. And finally, Ben Carson. Let's get this out of the way right now. If you're looking for an excuse for Ben Carson, you Carson people out there, by the way, I don't know who you are. I don't know what your demographic is. I don't know what your age range is. I don't know what your income strata is. I can't put my finger on who you guys are. But if you're out there listening and you're wondering what happened tonight, if you want to hang it on something, you can hang it on the fact that New Hampshire is not the most diverse state in the Union. Perhaps Ben Carson knew going in that he didn't have a shot of coming out of New Hampshire with any delegates. Perhaps Ben Carson discounts New Hampshire because at the end of the day, it's a pretty liberal state. Who knows at this point what Ben Carson will be doing? But I think it'll be safe to say, as Mona Salama said at the beginning of the show, live from New Hampshire, don't count out Dr. Ben Carson yet because of a poor performance in New Hampshire. The same way you shouldn't have counted out John Kasich for having a poor performance in Iowa. Ben Carson may be waiting to head south to his people. He's from the South. He may have a better beat on it. It's more of a culturally diverse state, more of a culturally diverse background for voters. You may see Ben Carson coming back strong as well. But one thing you can say about the Republican field as it stands right now here on primary day in New Hampshire. You went from having a 3-horse race to the field widening a little bit. One of the 3 horses stumbled. 2 of them kept stride. One of them even started to pull away. But when that 3rd horse stumbled, you have to see that at least 2 of them caught up and now are walking stride for stride with him. The problem is those 3 horses are in what we call the establishment lane. By the way, can I just take credit for the phrase lanes? I was talking about what lane people be running in when I was talking to Ted Cruz at CPAC last year. I'm taking credit for that. I don't care what they say. I actually have it on tape. Be that as it may, you're going to start seeing possibly some more vicious attacks coming between Rubio, Kasich, and Bush, because there can be only one. There can be only one establishment person there that will then have to go up against Cruz and Trump. Because you got to say right now, based on what you saw here in New Hampshire, Trump and Cruz, they're in probably past Super Tuesday. They're going to be getting some states out of Super Tuesday. They'll be right there in the thick of it. The question remains, who else will be with them? Before primary night in New Hampshire, Marco Rubio was kind of a lock to be there. Maybe not so much anymore. And finally, just to give some lip service to the Dem side, Hillary Clinton, can I just say, honestly, and I think the crowd will back me up with this, that we are loving what happened to you. I mean, we are absolutely loving. You're not breaking 40 in a very liberal state. There's a problem right now for Hillary Clinton. The problem is there's no message. The problem is there's no leadership. The problem is she underestimated Bernie Sanders, at least in the first 2 states. First impressions are a big deal in politics. Bernie Sanders has left a good first impression on the progressive wing of the Democratic Party going forward. The question is, what now, Bernie? What now? Are you going to be heading to South Kakalaki with momentum? Yes. Are you going to be heading there with a lot of young people behind you? Yes. Are you going to have an opponent that is considered to be almost unanimously untrustworthy by her own party voters that voted in New Hampshire? Yes. But is that enough? Is that enough to stop the Clinton monolith from running you over as time goes on? Listen, Bernie Sanders may have the ear of a lot of young people who don't know any better. Look it up, folks. Socialism doesn't work when you run out of other people's money, as Rand Paul has said. But what are you going to do now, Bernie, when the rubber meets the road in South Kakalaki, in Super Tuesday states, where it's not going to be easy to run multiple primaries in multiple states without a 50-state operation? It's going to be tough. Can it not be done? I don't know. But I'd love to be right now a fly on the wall in Debbie, whatever her name is, Schultz's office. Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I know her name, folks. But it's more fun when I say it the other way. When Debbie does the Democratic Party next time and she speaks to them, what can she really say? You have a socialist that is leading your party right now. Whether that lasts or not is really of no consequence to me, because at this moment in time, the Democrat Party is being shown for who and what they are. Socialists. They're responding to a socialist message. They are once again rejecting Hillary Clinton, much of like what we saw in 2008. And it's a rejection across the board, folks. It's not just 1 or 2 places here or there. It's a rejection across the board. It goes across gender lines, goes across age lines, goes across income lines. The people showing up to vote right now, the people that are responding to Bernie Sanders' message of income inequality and that narrative, a la Warren Wilhelm, Bill de Blasio here in the People's Republic of New York City. And it's a lot of young people out there with a lot of young energy. And who knows what the Democrats are doing for a plan B right now. You got to be thinking about a plan B. Hillary Clinton is not pulling her weight, so to speak. I think it's time for maybe to break the Biden out of the glass, folks. I think it might be time for Uncle Joe to step out into the spotlight. If that happens, you know that Hillary is in major trouble. Or there could be an indictment. Who the heck knows at this point when it comes to Hillary Clinton? But here's what I do know. It's going to get fun right now, folks. Not only in the road to the presidency, but here behind enemy lines. You heard Andre Walker, brand new contributor to the show. You heard Mona Salama in New Hampshire. She's traveling the country. You're going to be hearing a lot more surprises. Guests for CPAC coming up in March. We're going to be doing a live show from CPAC on WNJC, Philadelphia's Renaissance Station, 1360 AM. We're going to have a lot of big announcements coming, and the biggest one is yet to come. I know I've been hinting about this a lot. I know I've been kind of messing with this a lot, telling you that something big is on the horizon for the show. It's coming, folks. I can't give it away now. I'd love to give it away now. But it's coming. You'll hear about it real soon, and it's going to be an exciting year as we look to elect a new president this year. Hopefully a Republican one. Folks, that about wraps up for me. I'm going a little overtime to make up for some